Hey, hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? I hope you can hear me. I didn't even check the microphone situations, child. Let me hold on. Let me make sure that y'all can hear a girl. Okay, it's right. How is everybody? So I know it's been a month of 5 million Sundays since I've been on here. And I'm not even gonna make no excuses. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. Nope, I ain't been on here. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Been a minute, been a minute, been a minute. Shout out to Armand. How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? So, as you can see, I have a very pared down situation going on here. I've taken the stuff off the walls. Guys, I am moving in less than 48 hours now. I am pulling out of Wisconsin, out of my driveway, and heading to Greensboro, North Carolina. And I could not be happier. I could not be happier. um, this is, I see you guys. I'm going to shout out and say hello to everybody in just a second. Earlier this year, I was told late last year, earlier this year, when I looked at the astrological charts and all that for my sign, and I was listening to some of the other astrologers, especially a gentleman by the name of Cam White. He actually does his astrology. He does, tropical Placidus, but he goes by more so your rising sign than your sun sign. But I listened to both, and then I also listened to a number of people, and I always get like a check-in at the beginning of the year with my trusted advisors, and all signs pointed to September of this year that I would be making a major move. And this was a theme for Cancers, especially, and Capricorns, but that by September of this year, we would be making major moves. I really had kind of put it out of my head. Yes, I wanted to do it. I thought maybe I'd get it done earlier in the year. I wasn't sure. But when I turned around and just focused and said, you know what, I'm ready to change my life. I'm ready to take the next step and go into the next, start writing the next volume, start writing the next chapters, start living my life um, post raising children and having grandkids and two divorces and all this. Like, it's time for me to live mine, right? And I put my attention towards it. I put my attention towards creating my new reality. And the more attention that I put towards it, the more energy I put towards it, the more I began to be that. Then now I have become that. I started at the beginning of this year having a particular um, revenue amount that I wanted the business to grow to. I would say we're about halfway there. But I count the beginning of the year as March because that's truly, the spring equinox is truly the beginning of the year, right? That's when spring starts, that's the energetic year. So not January. For me, the year begins in March on the equinox. So we're about halfway through the year and I'm halfway to that goal. I couldn't be happier. Things are changing even with that. Like the platform is growing, not necessarily here on YouTube, but the reach is growing outside of various areas in social media. TikTok's growing, all sorts of things. And I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier. I have a goal to help 100 more light workers by the end of this energetic year step into their purpose. And we're coming up with new ways of doing that. But my main thing was I wanted a life that was filled with peace, where I was traveling, where I had the capability to travel, right? Um, I wanted to be out of Wisconsin, no more Wisconsin winters. I wanted to live in, like, I like my house, don't get me wrong, but I was ready to get back the into the city life, um, ready to kind of maybe even live in a upscale apartment and behind a gated community, and with the pool and the fitness center and all the amenities, have that kind of like single, hot girl summer, hot grandma summer, hot glamour summer. I was ready to have that life of being bi-coastal, that life of all. That's the life that I chose to manifest, and I chose to create, and I chose to become. And as you be what you're seeking, what you're manifesting, then that comes to you. So as you be what you're manifesting, then it comes to you. Whatever you're being right now, that's what's coming to you. So if you don't like what's coming to you, change what you're being. I want you guys to really catch that. If you don't like what's coming to you, change what you are being. And for some of us, that's probably a little bit of a harsh reality, right? But I got to give it to you straight. No chaser, no sugar. Okay. So I'm gonna speaking to everybody right now. Hey, Glam Beauty, how are you? I did see your email. I will respond to you tonight before I go to bed. Hey, Lady D, how are you, honey? Hey, Joy. Hey, Positive Vibe. I love that name. I love it. I love it. I love it. How am I handling all of these retrograde energies? Let's talk about that. Can we, real quick? I think that's really important when I'm talking about this, how to create your life, how to recreate your life, how to manifest the reality that you want. I look at all of these retrograde energies, all these planets going to retrograde. I'm actually going to bring up the chart really quick. And but I look at all of these as a moment in time that I can pause, rewind, review everything, and think about it again. Okay? Review, rewind, and plan again. Like, there's nothing wrong with reviewing your plans. I'm literally pasting this in here. I hadn't intended on doing this, so thank you for bringing this up. Let me share this screen. Hold on, guys. I am going to share the screen. Hey, Natasha, how are you, hon? Share screen, window, da. Here we go. Okay, let me go back here and make sure that we're going to blow it up. Okay, so how am I handling these retrograde energies? Let me talk about that. Hello, hello, hello. And then, mind you, you have 6 natal. Yep. Well, and that's a different. Your natal chart retrograde planets, they have a different effect. That's a different thing than transit retrogrades. Natal retrogrades are usually there so you can see the deeper meaning. Like when somebody that has that many retrogrades in their chart, you're highly intuitive, you're highly spiritual, you're highly empathic. There's a lot going on, right? You're highly there's highly ascended. A lot of people say that you're a star seed. There's a lot to be said for that. But when we deal with transit retrogrades, that's a different story. Okay? And it's a different story because when the planets are transiting, they're moving according to our perspective. Your natal chart is your snapshot when you were born. That's your blueprint. That's not going to change. How things interact with those natal stationary, if you will, for you, that's a different story. Okay, so let's think about this. Hey, Christina, how are you, honey? Okay, so I'm going to go over here. So what's in retrograde right now? Well, what's about to go into retrograde? If I remember correctly, so where's my lovely, is this today's chart? This should be in retrograde, shouldn't it? For Pete's sake. Hang on, gang. Let me check something out. Oh, this is not today's chart. My bad. Don't mind that chart. Mind this chart I'm about to bring up. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Today is the 6th. Let me see oh my God, it was my brother's birthday today. Fuck's sake. Oops, sorry guys. I'm just cursing. Oh my God. Oh my God, been packing all day. Child, that's a damn shame. Anyway, we'll talk about my brother another day. Okay, here we go. Copy, image, paste this. Y'all don't pay no attention to me. Now, not a lick or a louie, okay? No, don't save. Paste. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. I was like, what is going on with this damn thing? Oh, God. You guys ever do that? Do you get so tied up doing things that you forget some important situations? I guess maybe if I was closer, let me not start this. Okay. 'Cause I'm about to get myself in damn trouble. It's so bad. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me go back. All right. So here we go. We have Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn. We have Saturn in retrograde in Pisces. We have Neptune in retrograde in Pisces. We have Chiron in retrograde in Aries. We have Jupiter and Uranus in retrograde. And we have Mercury in retrograde. So Jupiter and Uranus are in retrograde in Taurus. Mercury is in retrograde in Virgo. Let's talk. Now, I threw Chiron in there because it's important. And I'll tell you why in a minute. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is all of the outer planets are in retrograde. When all the outer planets are in retrograde, that means whichever area that they govern, or in this case, then it's going to be the totality of your life. This is a contemplation of lifetime for you. A contemplation of life for you and I in every area. Pluto, your personal development, the contractual agreements, your personal transformations. Saturn, how you have allowed the greater structure culturally, either personally, culturally, or globally, mundane. How have you allowed that to throttle, stop, cease, hamper your higher purpose being executed by where it's at? Now, I think it's going to retrograde back into Aquarius. So it's going to retrograde back home. It's going to ingress back into Aquarius or regress, and that's going to ingress back into Pisces again. So it's going to go back a little ways and give you, Pluto will give you an opportunity to go back to that greater good structure that you were creating for yourself all last year. Revisit that, look at that again and say, am I actually executing my purpose? Am I actually executing my mission? Am I manifesting my best life, the life that is of my highest good? If you're not, you're getting a do-over moment. You're getting a moment to say, you know what? I have waited so long. I have just denied myself. I've denied my higher self the ability to govern my lower self, my body, my being. I have not done what I'm supposed to do. I have made whatever set of excuses there is to make. That might be harsh, but I'm telling myself that. For years, I made every excuse. Was there, and I'm not saying that reality doesn't set in and there's bills to pay, and I get all that. But if I look at it, if I had the confidence in myself, if I had the gnosis, the knowledge of self now, if I had had the paradigm shift, the mental paradigm shift that I have now, then 20, 30 years ago when I was raising the kids, I'd have been started my own business. I would have been being an entrepreneur. I might have evolved. I probably would have evolved into this, and probably I would have evolved into it sooner. But I would have been an entrepreneur. I would have followed my path, which was to impact humanity in a huge global way and help heal the healers, teach the teachers, mentor the mentors, right? And be that way shower. I might would have done it under the guise of a Christian umbrella or something like that. And I know for sure I would have moved out from underneath it. My point is, I would, if I had had the confidence in myself, I would have done it a long time ago. What has hampered you from and been an obstacle? And I guess my question is, what I really have had to face in these first 6 months of the energetic year, the astrological year, is, am I going to continue to allow that to happen? What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen if I just allow myself to dream? What is the worst thing that can happen if I allow myself to invest extra money into an ad campaign or into the business? What's the worst thing that can happen if I go out on a limb and go on and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to move? What's the worst thing that I can do if I decide to say, okay, I'm going to spend part of my time out in California, part of my time in North Carolina? What's the worst? What's the worst thing that can happen if I bet on myself? Hmm? And allow whatever that fear is to come back and come up and examine it and see how real it is. Because if the word, when you really look at some of these things, like, honestly, what was the worst thing that would have happened? I mean, I went and applied for the apartment. I wasn't sure how much it was going to be, you know, for the security deposit and all that. Being an entrepreneur, it's different when you can prove, different amounts of money. But anyway, I wasn't sure, and then when I found out how much it was going to be, and I really started totaling everything up, I was like, "Ooh, I'm taking a chance, man." So this was not cheap. But I did it because I was like, "What's the worst thing that can happen? I'm delayed a month from moving, or this, or that." It wasn't right? What am I most afraid of? And am I willing to release that fear? So when you're getting ready to take a leap, allow the fear to come up and look at it and say, what's the worst thing that can happen if I let go of this fear? Am I ready to let go? Am I ready to allow life to be? That's when you're able to finally manifest. Will you release the fear? Now, so this is a great opportunity for us to release all those fears. Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn, again, it keeps dancing over this Pluto return for the United States. I'm going to tell you, so we're in for there are going to be some more economic shakeups. We're probably going to see crypto come up into things in a big way, digital coins all over the world. The economic structure of the world is changing rapidly. You should be paying attention to that a little bit. And then also, I'm just going to tell you straight up, like we're not going to be, as far as the United States is concerned, the same level of economic power we have been. Things are getting realigned. Saturn going back into Aquarius, Pluto going back in retrograde in Capricorn before it finally comes out and comes into Aquarius. Remember, it peaked its head into Aquarius for just a hot second, and then it went back retrograde. Well, come after January, I think it is when it finally comes back and starts to make its way direct, and then it will be in Aquarius for a very long time. That, my friends, I believe, is when we're really going to see a very huge advancement in the age of Aquarius. But we'll talk about that when it happens. Neptune in retrograde in Pisces. It loves being at home in Pisces. This is, again, I would say self-care, a lot of meditation. This is your time to test things out. If you've not been able to do certain things spiritually, energetically, whatnot, this is your time to test out the waters. This is your time to stretch out a little bit. This is your time to say, you know what? It's really not so bad doing that whole astral travel and astral projection thing. It's actually quite nice. Right? So this is, and it's a time to review, where do you stand on those higher aspirations, higher dream, higher self, what you know that you're supposed to do, Ka chakra stuff. Jupiter in retrograde and Uranus in retrograde, both in Taurus. How are you doing possessing the gifts that have been given to you? How are you doing possessing, again, the dreams, the aspirations, the expansion? How are you doing? Those of us that have been expanding, we're probably feeling a lot of restriction in this moment. And when I get around here to Mercury and to Chiron, you'll see why. You're feeling restriction at this moment because now is not the time to do great, grand. For instance, I have multiple businesses, right? I have multiple brands underneath the Heart of Inspiration business. I really want to just go crazy with all of them. I really do. But it's not smart for me to do that. Not right now. I need to finish the thing. I need to finish some existing projects, do my rebrand, finish that off, get my live events in order, get my virtual events in order, and on a regular schedule. So there's things I have to do. I had to move. I got a reading from someone a few months ago when I was trying to decide whether or not to relocate to New Orleans or to go to Greensboro. And the cards kept, as much as I wanted to go to New Orleans, y'all, I mean, I wanted to be in New Orleans full time. As much as I wanted to do that, I listened when I heard that's not the place for you, that Greensboro is the place that you'll find great and immense growth and prosperity and abundance in all areas of your life, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. That it's just a good place for you to be. So I heeded that. So the move needs to happen, right? I need to plant my roots, all these sorts of things. Yeah. So how are you doing on this big plan so that you can possess the things that have already been gifted and the things that are deserving? Uranus being in retrograde, Uranus and Taurus just upsets apple carts, just upsets apple carts. Uranus in retrograde gives us a breather moment because everything has been on like 500, like on 10,000, like it's been going so fast. This gives us a moment to integrate all of the massive changes, revolutionary and evolutionary changes that we have been going through during this entire transit. So every once in a while it's transiting Taurus, we get a bit of a breather so we can integrate. Now, why did I leave Mercury and Chiron to the end? How we think about all of this is Mercury in retrograde, our brain. How we think about all this on a personal level, especially within Virgo, are we looking at all of these changes and looking at our life as a whole? Are we looking at it through healthy eyes? Are we speaking health and life into our life? Are we doing that the right way? Or are we kind of chasing after some things that maybe we shouldn't? All the glitters isn't gold. Did we get ourselves in a bit of a pickle? And so now we have these retrogrades to kind of push stop and start and rewind. Chiron in retrograde in Aries tells me that this is also a time for us to look at how we are self-sabotaging. Some of us have put ourselves in positions with people or positions in general that seemed like it was a good idea. We thought it was going to be amazing, but it's really self-sabotage. Right? We irritated the wound that affects us the most. We irritated our Achilles heel. We allowed the very weakness that we had overcome to creep back in and overtake us. And so now it's time for you to really be honest with yourself. When you're reviewing your life, how have you self-sabotaged? And be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Be honest. That's the only personal planet right now that is in retrograde. So the beauty of all of this is you have Mars in Libra that's activating I got to get into balance. Like if you've been feeling like, man, I've been out of whack and I got to get back where I can do this. If you've been in that mode where you like, you know what? Let me tell you something. Nah, that's not what we're finna do. Nah, you throw me off. I can't have you. It's just not gonna work. I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you, but I got to go. And see, and Venus that just got done with its retrograde fully in Leo for us to really review do we really want? Do we really want what we keep saying that we want? Is that really what we want? And it's actually squaring Jupiter in retrograde. So really, we are reviewing loyalties. We are reviewing where we've placed our loyalty, the ideas that we've had loyalty towards, everything. But now we're like empowered enough. Also, we're like to have that self-love. Like, I don't need to let you do this to me. No, 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 no. And Mars and Libra is saying, absolutely, we're going to get ourselves in balance and we're not going to stop. So for me, all these retrogrades, a lot of people will say, oh, you shouldn't make major moves during retrogrades. Meh. Meh. This was already in motion. So then we wouldn't finna, we not fixing to stop this train. That's not finna happen. That's not finna. This is going. These energies are guidelines. That doesn't mean that I still don't have autonomy and agency over my life. That being said, there's other areas of my life that I have seriously been like, pause, rewind, let's regroup, rebrand, restructure, refocus. And that's actually for me what this move is. It is kind of the final piece in the puzzle of the restructure. It's a major piece, it is the centerpiece around which everything else then can open up. I'm looking forward to meeting new people. I'm looking forward to experiencing new things. I'm looking forward to a new culture, a new way of life. I'm looking forward to all of that. So I didn't intend to talk about the retrogrades, but that's very important when we're going in and manifesting our new life and creating our new life. Yes, we have to understand where the energies are in general, but we also have to really, really, really tap in and take control and agency and autonomy over what happens. Again, remember what I said earlier? Whatever you, however you be, that is what comes to you. So if a bunch of garbage is coming your way, you got to check what's going on inside of you. Why are you still attracting it? Why are you still bringing it in? What about this situation and these people or whatever the case is? What about this is appealing to you that you just keep on inviting it in the dough? Because that's what's happening. You keep inviting this in. Literally, that's what's happening. You're inviting it in because you're not, there's some area of work that needs to be done. Will you stop? Oh, this thing is irritating me. Okay. So I have chosen to be a happy, balanced, joyful, even energied goddess. Fair, open minded, nobody's doormat, nobody's punching bag, be it through verbal or otherwise. Like that's what I've chosen to be. Successful, doing a lot of speaking engagements, well known speaker, author, businesswoman, entrepreneur, leader, spiritual leader, thought leader. That's what I've chosen to be. What have you chosen to be? And if you say, if you might say, well, I've chosen da 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 da. Then I'm going to ask you to really search your heart. And do you believe that deep down in your heart? Believe, live what you be. Your life should reflect who you are, and it does. It is a mirror, it is a reflection, it is the culmination of every bit of energy that you have within. Who are you right now? What are you being? What are you being? I can't ask it any other way. What are you being? And there's no shame in reviewing it. I want you to take these retrogrades right now and do that. And go on and seek out what it is going to take for you to for that to manifest. Take a step towards it, because the more steps you take towards it, the faster it becomes, the faster it comes to you. The more you believe, the more you live it. And then soon you would have became, it would have already arrived. And then we become the next thing. Autopilot, absolutely autopilot. I got to go up here and see what's happening. Thank you so much, Christina. I love me some Chiron, to be honest with you. Hey Cass, how are you, sweetie? How are you? Yeah, if you're ready for some huge changes, then it's time to go after it. Just make them. I can't even say it any other way. Just be that change and make that change. You know? All right, what else is going on that I can talk to you guys about today? I'm gonna take all this stuff down. So it's if I go live tomorrow at all, it's gonna be on TikTok. And be super honest with you. I'll post something here. Um, I want to have a virtual summit with like tarot readers, specifically tarot readers, I think, and astrologers, but mainly tarot readers. I really want the reader, and maybe the pendulum. Yeah, think those two. Maybe even some scryers. So I'll be announcing that. I got that idea for like October, November. Probably November. We might do the Black over like Black Friday weekend. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Um, I'm actually going to start a second channel that's going to be devoted totally towards spiritual entrepreneurship. So I can kind of leave this more as just general inspiration. So that will get started once I get moved and everything. I'll be going back and forth between LA and all points in between. So um, yeah, if you guys want me to come to your neck of the woods over the next 6 months or so, preferably nowhere where there's a bunch of snow, hit me up at my email, because we're going to be outside doing all kinds of events. All kinds of events. So it's going to be a lot. There's just a lot on the plate. And I think one of the most exciting things for me is I finally just get to be grandma. I finally get to be grandma. I finally just get to be adult mom. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And I get to live my life. Not that I can't live my life here, but I think those of you with children, adult children especially, will understand what I mean. Like, this is such the next chapter. And it's taken me so long to get here, but I'm finally here and I'm excited for it. Cass, you're going through shadow work and scared of change. See, you got to let it go. So I want you to do this. The law of allowance, right? Neville Goddard, law of allowance. Face the fear and say, what is the worst thing that can happen if I let this fear go? Can I let it go? Where did this fear come from? Why do I have, what is it trying to protect me from? That's where you go with that. Absolutely. Child, look, go back. It was in the end of June, beginning of July. It was the beginning of July. It was July the 7th. I did a live July the 7th on how you cannot avoid the tower moment. July the 7th, go back there. Go back there and look at that. July 7th, right here on this channel. It won't be hard to find because ain't that many of them lately. We can't avoid the tower moments because when we avoid them and we delay them, baby, that tower, it burns everything. It is a wildfire. It is a wildfire. Whereas if we handle it and do it when we first see that this needs to get moved out of our way, if we make it an 8 of Cups moment rather than a Tower moment, we're in a much better position. Honey, I've been leaving lots of people. Yes, I'm glad. I'm proud of you. Somebody asked me the other day, one of my clients asked me, had I said matter of fact, was it earlier today? No, it was yesterday. Had I said all my goodbyes to my friends. I said, who am I saying goodbye to? I've grown so, you know what I mean? That it's just, it is what it is. I need to be consistent in putting out content. All of us do. Thanks, Cass. Good. Yeah, go watch that one. It's pretty short. Honey, I'm gonna tell you something. I gotta be me. I gotta do me. And y'all, I mean, some of us understand that. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna be on here long. It's under 45 minutes. Thank goodness. We'll probably chop it up to talk about the retrograde. I'm gonna take that part out and make that its own video. So if I go live tomorrow, it's gonna be from my phone and on TikTok. Because all this is gonna be down. It's so weird. This is all gonna be down. Truck getting loaded like tomorrow at 7. I can't believe it. But I will keep y'all posted all along the way. When I get to North Carolina, when things are being unloaded and whatnot, I'll take some videos so you guys can kind of see my new digs. Yeah, exciting. So if you think of us, I'll let y'all know when we're leaving. We're leaving probably Friday about between 7 and 8 p.m. Central Time. Say a quick prayer for me and my kitties because they got to ride in that car, honey, for 14 hours, 13, 14 hours. Child. So if anybody got any ideas, I'm going to go try to find me some kitty CBD, child. That's what I'm going to go find, some kitty CBD. I have one that likes the real THC, but don't tell nobody that. That's between us. But but anyway, so I'm gonna find them some kitty CBD and try to sneak it in their food or something. Oh, it's that you can't look back. It's that you can't look back moment, or you turn into a pillar of salt. I suppose. Too many people used to be. Yeah, girl. Can I say something about this real quick? People do get used to us being their savior, but we get used to and get addicted to just as much being their savior. It's easier and it feels better for us to save them than it does for us to save ourselves. And I ain't even drinking. Hello? It's easier for us to save somebody else than it is for us to save ourselves. So I'm glad that you realize that people are looking towards you to be that. I'm even more happy that you're realizing that is exhausting, it is draining, and it's not your role. I had to realize that. And I slip into it sometimes. Ask my children, Mommy, you don't have to do all that for me. Now, now it's because I want to and because I have the means. But I'll slip into that sometimes with my friends. I'll slip into that sometimes with people in general. It's not going to be easy, especially when you cut the umbilical cord. I'm gonna tell you straight up. They're not gonna like it. But it's necessary for everybody. Hey, 420 for life. You know what? Exactly. And this is the other thing. I know you hate it because I don't like to see people fall either. But sometimes you have to let that happen. Not just sometimes. You have to allow it to happen. You're robbing them of being able to learn their lesson, and you're robbing yourself of fulfilling your highest good and being all because you're too busy over here. Okay. I talk to people sometimes about, when you want a relationship, but you got a situationship sitting over here, or your heart's with somebody else, and there's no room for this other party, for a new love to come in. If you don't love yours, sometimes we don't even have room to love ourselves because we're so busy crowding our own energy with everybody else's problems that we don't even have space to love ourselves. So, all right. On that note, thank you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. We're still going to be done before an hour. I will post on the community wall when I go live on TikTok tomorrow. Yeah. Ah, I'm almost out of here. I've not done a winter outside of the Midwest since I was born. So I have had 54 winters in the Midwest. I'm so excited to start a whole new life. And I'm so excited to bring you all along with me. Everybody that's watching, drop some comments down below. You guys drop some comments down below. Tell me what you're manifesting. What are you being? Who is your being? Who are you being? So that this energy comes to you. What's that new life look like? Because I want to manifest it with you. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste. Bye.